Hello and welcome to Who It Could Have Been, where every week we take a look at a famous actor or actress who was up for a big role, but for one reason or another they didn't quite get it. Would they have been better, worse, or would they have been mind-bogglingly stupid?
Kind of like that time Demos auditioned to be the Borg Queen's body double.
Mind-bogglingly stupid. Resistance won't be that futile.
Resist, Mickey Fireball. Resist, I tell you.
Compliance is fantastic.
Elated, baby. Woo.
Well, it's funny that we should be talking about Star Trek or dropping Star Trek puns, whether they landoed or not, because tonight we'll be talking...
Son of a...
Tonight we'll be talking about Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, or the final time anybody ever had respect for William Shatner as a director. Although I will contend, not entirely his fault. That film had major budget issues, but let's move on. Now, how much do you remember Star Trek V, Kyle?
You know, for as much trash as we talk about Star Trek V here, there were some good moments in there. Like you've heard me even quote, heck, I've even dropped it in some of my sports articles as a joke. You know, the part at the beginning where Kirk is climbing the rock and Spock with his rocket boots comes up to him, Captain, why do you climb this rock? And they go to talking and Kirk basically gives him some philosophical answer of, you know, because it's there.
It's there.
Yeah, exactly. And then Spock continues to distract him, and then he falls, and then Spock catches him. It's like, perhaps because it is there is not a good reason. I'm hardly in a position to disagree. You know, that's not the exact quote, but it's the general gist of it. And you know, that's one of a few good lines that actually exist in that movie. Unfortunately, why does God need a starship? Does not make for a good movie, and I'll leave it at that.
I will say that for all its faults, I will say that it does have one of the most powerful scenes from the original series movies, and it's the one that centers on Dr. McCoy reliving his biggest pain with his father. That scene is not only incredibly acted by DeForest Kelley, but it's one of the entire sequence, that specific sequence where they all go through their pain, or do they, is one of the strongest scenes in that movie. I think... that scene makes the movie's existence worth it, in my opinion, if I dare say so.
I thought it was cheesy. I'll leave it at that. It could be a me problem. It didn't lando for me, that part. But I better appreciate what they were going for than the execution itself. But again, to your point, like, there were budgetary issues. There were certain things that were crazy. And listen, if we don't talk about Scotty blowing a damn door open to get the main trio out of the brig.
Can't you see a jailbreak when you see one?
Can't you see a jailbreak when you see one? That's right. End of word.
And then he bangs his head on the ship.
I know this ship like the back of my hand. Boom. Yeah, you know, that was in the trailer, for Christ's sake. Anyways.
That's a character killing scene. I'm sorry.
Your face is a character killer. Anyway.
Bad characters, hopefully. But anyway. So the antagonist of the film is a character named Sybok, the, spoiler alert, a secret half-brother of Spock. And then Discovery introduced us to his secret sister. The man has a lot of secret family members.
Well, like in Spock's case, it's not so much that they're secrets. Like, his attitude is, well, you didn't ask. You know what? Bleep you and your pony-eared Mickey Fireball himself. All right. Anyway.
Imagine if Spock's sister became an issue later on. He's like, but you didn't ask. Well, I asked you about your brother. You asked me about your brother, Jim. Yeah, you didn't ask me about a sister.
I told you I needed some hot chick. Wait, never mind.
Oh, well, maybe it all makes sense now. But... the role was played by Laurence Luckinbill, and he didn't do a bad performance. The film isn't exactly well written overall, but the role was originally intended for this much, much more famous actor. In fact, the mystical planet that they're going to go to is kind of named after this actor.
Nimbus 3?
No, they're going to Eden, Shakari. Who does that sound like? Shakari.
You know, you're going to say it. I'm going to be like, I should get what that is.
Sha, Connery. Add a couple of extra syllables. Sean Connery.
Oh, wait, that was going to... Okay, wait. Sybok as Sean Connery. No, I'm not feeling it. It
was originally written with him in mind, as far as my sources go. He was contacted to appear in the film. They wanted him to do it. And he was busy with this other film.
This little known thing. So it's some other, like, it's basically a sequel of it. It's like the last movie in a trilogy, like lame.
Well, instead of going to the final frontier, he had his last crusade.
The holy grail of lameness, if you would think.
So instead of trying to find God, he was trying to find God's cup.
When you put it that way. In this case, I dare to say he did not choose poorly.
Sean Connery will make anything better. I can't even argue about it, man. I mean, it would have... First of all, if Sean Connery had appeared in it, the film probably would have been greenlit for a slightly bigger budget.
Perhaps.
I can't guarantee that, but with Sean Connery, this was in the late 80s. He was on his career revival. Following some successes, he would have made the film a hell of a lot more interesting to me. I can say so. I think that Star Trek V is the weakest of the original series movies, but
for some reason I can't get quite past Sybok. I need to show you your pain. No, I can't. I'm not feeling that. Richard the Lionheart cannot be that big a douche. Be like, Dr. McCoy, I want to show you your pain. No,
I think he may have played the role maybe more in the spirit of his role of In the Name of the Rose, the wise kind of rebellious monk. If there was another rewrite and they were to focus on the conflict of this character, because the character is actually, forget the Spock brother thing, because I think that ended up making the thing much more complicated than it need be. But taking a Vulcan, a species, a race that ascribes itself to being emotionless and dedicated to logic, and seeing that conflict in order to pursue a mysterious, possibly religious deity that exists physically in this universe. It's a very intriguing idea that is unfortunately squandered in this final production. If it was handled with more care and creativity, I think it might be a very interesting premise, and Sean Connery can definitely lend that kind of gravitas. But they wanted to make it a comedy.
I don't know, man. Like, I see where you're going about him being able to play a monk and things like that. But in order for Sybok's mission to be one that any character will undertake, you need a lot more zeal than what you're asking for in that style of character that you get from Sean Connery. Give the actor that plays it credit. I really did get the feeling, he gave me that vibe that he's kind of a cultist who would not be denied his logic, right? The people out there, the kids out there talking about, this is my truth. Well, that was his logic, right? He was an SJW before there was one, right? I'm kidding.
I know he wasn't that bad. He just took over a starship and led people to their possible death in order to pursue his religious beliefs. That's all.
He didn't set the starship on fire, I guess. But the punchline is this.
Nearly caused a war between three rival superpowers in the process of it, too.
Detailed. But I really enjoyed the cultist vibe from him, and how, I don't know how his power manifests, whether it's simply a Vulcan mind trick of some sort, a Vulcan mind trick, not to be confused with a Jedi mind trick. I mean, to me,
the Vulcan's powers seem to be rewritten to suit the script at large.
There you go. Correct. And then that, I'm like, but why can he, what they do? Let me show you your pain. No, and
then Discovery added forced telepathy to the Vulcan's powers.
Right, exactly. And but even if you take all that out, which in my opinion is writing issues, not acting issues, this guy played the likable cultist, right? He liked his brother, he loved his brother, he respected his brother and his friends, but when they got in his way, that's when the ish went down and fireball, it got crazy, okay?
I feel like I don't want to do a disservice to Mr. Luckinbill I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, because he does a good job with what he's given. He does a good job, and for the overt comedic nature of Final Frontier, he actually does achieve a bit of a balance with his characterization, which, given what's going on, is in itself kind of a feat, perhaps an accidental feat, but it's a feat nevertheless. I think that Sean Connery would have definitely put more seats in the theater. And I still think that it would have been a much more interesting film. But if you were to just take the finished product as is and flip it over to Sean Connery, that just makes it a little bit more interesting, but it's still a failure.
Yeah, well,
it'll be making an interesting failure.
I don't know that I agree with that either necessarily, but I see where you're going. I like your point. And listen, any actor that manages to capture any sort of seriousness and gravitas at all in the very same movie or who are in her 60s is doing a striptease to get people's attention, listen, folks, that's a talent right there that I can't touch.
In the original script, it would have been Laurence Luckinbill doing that dance. And
God, stop.
Maybe that scene existed so that we could put ourselves in all these characters' shoes, because when Sybok would come to us about our pain, that's the scene that would just play out over him.
Now let me show you my pain.
Each of us hides a secret pain. Share yours with me.
I don't want my pain taken away. I need my pain.
At the end, for me, it doesn't make that big of a difference. I think the most unbelievable thing that we've addressed in this episode is In the Name of the Rose, because as much as I adore that movie, that's a great movie. Check it out. I might actually do a required viewing on it at one point. There's one aspect in that film that I find very, very difficult to believe, that Sean Connery is a virgin. I cannot give that the benefit of a doubt. That's a little difficult to believe.
Listen, there was this one time I was walking and this nun fell on me and things happened. It was not on purpose, Lord.